My time with you today is very, very brief. And I asked myself, how could I best communicate my thoughts and ideas with all of you? And I wish I had your email address. I wish I could reach you on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or WhatsApp or wherever you hang out. And if I could, I would reach out to you every day and say pretty much the same things. The first thing that I would do, if I had your email address, I would explain to you, why do I spell happiness with a Y? That Y is there to make us all mindful that it is you and your responsibility, you and your opportunity to create the future that you want for you and your family. The second thing that I would do, if I had your email, if I could reach you, the second thing I would share with you, I would talk about the second most important decision that I've ever made in my life. And that decision was, I made it at your age or younger. That decision was, I was going to become world class at whatever I did with my life. Not good at it, not pretty good at it, but world class at it. And let's define world class. Keep it simple. A conversation is being held and the question comes up, who's the best in the business? Somebody's got to say your name. Same conversation, same question. Who's the best in the business? If nobody says your name, then you got work to do. Same conversation, same question. Who's the best in the business? If nobody says your name and you don't care, get out of the business. You'll never be any good at it. But the ultimate validation in that scenario, when that question comes up, who's the best in the business, the ultimate validation is when somebody who does not like you says your name. When the folks who would not take your phone calls are now hoping that you'll return their phone calls. When the people who would not hire you yesterday cannot afford you today, that's when you know. You know when I knew? I knew when I got invited to be here today. And that's when I knew, yeah, baby, if I had your email address, if I had your email address, if I could reach you on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I would be saying to you again the same thing every day, which is the people that you're ultimately going to be competing with, they are not in your line of sight. They are not in your field of vision, but they need to be on your radar. Because of globalization and technology, the people that you're ultimately going to be competing with are all over the world. And if I've got this right, 70% of the population in Saudi Arabia is under 30 years old. And youth is a beautiful thing. And I will share with you, be young, enjoy yourself. But know this, while you are off being young and enjoying yourself, the people that you are ultimately going to be competing with, they are someplace grinding. They're studying, they're practicing, they're researching, they're rehearsing, they're networking. And that's going to make the difference between who signs the front of the check and who signs the back of the check. If I had your email address, man, I would be blowing you up every day. And one of the things that I would be saying, especially to aspiring entrepreneurs, go brush your teeth. There's a scene in the film, I don't know if you recall it, but I met this guy who was driving the red Ferrari. And I go up to him and I say, I've got to ask you two questions. The two questions were, what do you do and how do you do that? Well, there's a new two questions. And while you're brushing your teeth, look in that mirror and ask yourself two questions. Number one, if I could walk through a door tomorrow morning and be doing anything in the world that I say I really want to be doing, what would it be? What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? What would it smell like? Engage all of your senses. And then ask yourself the second question. What did I do today to make tomorrow possible? Did I move the dial forward one notch? Did I take one baby step towards what it is I say I really want to do? And if the answer is no, then that's not what you really want to do. Again, my time with you today is very, very brief. The last thing that I'll share with you is this. There's a scene in the film that takes place on the basketball court. And as you ultimately saw it on the screen, it was not originally written this way. In the original screenplay, when that little boy throws up that ball and says, "I'm going pro," the father says, "Forget it. That'll never happen. I was no good at it, so that means that you can't do it." I waited until we were going to film that scene that day, and I went up to Will Smith and I said, "You can't tell that to that little boy, because that's not what my mother told me." We had a very heated discussion about it. Me, Will Smith, our director, Gabriel Muccino, and one of the producers. The producer's position was, well, the father's got to keep it real with the kid. My position was, man, you live in Hollywood. What you know about keeping it real? We had a very heated discussion about it for 30 minutes, and finally, it was Will Smith who says, "You know what? Chris is right, because my mother told me the same thing." We tore up the original script, and what we wrote was, don't ever let somebody else tell you what you can't do. When other people are saying something can't be done, you got to hear them saying that they can't do it. If you got a dream, you got to protect it. If you want something, go get it, period. Thank you.